African countries are facing a funding squeeze that has hit the continent really hard, but Nigeria's situation is still manageable. Director of the African Department of the IMF, Abebe Amro Selassie, who gave the IMF's regional economic outlook for sub-Saharan Africa, is optimistic that the prospects are still looking bright. Muplang, Dakok reports.
Global public debt and inflation levels have risen so high as have not been seen in many decades. Africa is no doubt neck deep in debt, with Nigeria having its own share, especially with the huge debt from China. The International Monetary Fund says with shrinking budgets and reduced inflows from partners, this is eroding household purchasing power and striking at the most vulnerable. It describes the situation as the big funding squeeze.
The trade regime, the foreign exchange regime have all been very challenging and have not allowed Nigeria to robust the very strong, rates of growth that the country needs desperately. So, second, I think it's appropriate that you look at policies in terms of their effectiveness. So, a question that we have is these the policies that have been pursued over the last 3-4 years, have they indeed helped achieve the diversification that it was intended to achieve?
The IMF predicts that growth in sub-Saharan Africa is expected to slow to 3.6% based on the big funding squeeze, which is the second consecutive year of decline in sub-Saharan African growth. But the region is not powerless.
The new administration will see what they do. We would be supportive of measures that are, policies that respond and are effective in terms of addressing the diversification objective that Nigeria has, but also addressing the near-term challenges that, macroeconomically the country is facing.
Nigeria indeed is faced with tough decisions, but the Bretton Woods institutions suggest that governments must ensure that efforts to tackle climate change, monetary policy, and inflation do not crowd out basic needs like health and education. From the Washington District of Columbia, Muplang,